All right, everybody on Twitch, give me just a second as we get everybody on YouTube caught up and ready to go. Fairly quiet for tonight, but we may be looking at some stormier weather heading our direction as we go into the course of the next couple of days. But not for the weekend, not for tomorrow or anything like that, but we will be looking for the potential of maybe some more storms next week, and even then the forecast is not right for the News 12 viewing area, but it is possible that we may see again the potential of some storms heading our direction, and that is something that should really make us sit up and take notice, especially at this time of the year as we see again the potential for some of these storms to possibly be a little bit more on the stronger side. We'll talk more about the severe weather forecast coming up here in just a little bit, but for right now, I think we've got, again, some pretty calm conditions for the next about a couple of days. We did have a cold front rolling on through, and as of right now, the front tomorrow is not going to be doing anything, giving us any potential of some problems out there where it comes to any rainfall, so that's good news, but unfortunately, we could be seeing some more problems coming up when it comes to potential severe weather, so that is something we'll also talk about. If you've never been here before, welcome to the show. This is Weather Overtime. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen, Onek, keeping you updated on what's going on with the weather situation across the area. It is, again, a quiet Wednesday. We've made it through the peak of the week, and right now we just don't really have too much of anything happening. We'll give you more details on the complete forecast. If you want to check in, we've got the stream chat going on Twitch, and we've got the chat function available on YouTube. So check in, drop your name off, show us where you're from. If you're around this area, give us again a shout, and we'll try to talk about weather in your particular location. This is our online video weather blog, giving you, the viewer, the opportunity to talk more about what's going on with the forecast. If you've never been here before, this is the area we cover around southeast Tennessee, western North Carolina, back into northwest and north central Georgia, and then back into northeastern Alabama. That is the News 12 viewing area. So again, a good opportunity to take a look and see what is going on out there. And on radar, there's nothing happening at this point. We do have more potential rain coming our direction. Some of that up to our north and west. Bowling Green, just west and northwest of the Nashville area, most of that traveling right along the Tennessee-Kentucky line, so not much of anything else going on for now, but better chances of rainfall coming up into the course of the next couple of days, so to speak. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. Let's take a look and see what's going on right now downtown Chattanooga, showing again some very quiet conditions, a little breezy with, again, you can see the Old Glory up on top of the buildings up there waving along, as we do have a bit of a breeze, but not by much less windy than what it was earlier. Yes, it says calm at the airport, but that's at the airport, and the farther upwards you go, there's a type of wind that is continuously moving around the earth, and that's called the geostrophic wind. So this right here is an evidence of what goes on a few dozen feet, maybe a few hundred feet off the ground even, and you can see again those winds excuse me, quite well for tonight. Regular high temperature for this time of the year is 57, and we are way above that right now at 65, and that is a few minutes before 10 o'clock Eastern time. What happened today with the temperatures? Well, we don't see this entirely too often. It's a lot less unique than it used to be with climate change taking place, but we tied a record high temperature 1 degree below 80. That has stood since 1977, so we did manage to get a little warmer today than what we've seen across the area for quite some time. 35 was the low. 10 above was the record high set 10 years before the record low, before we hit the record high temperature there. We're still ahead for the month by a fraction of an inch on rainfall, and we are are behind for the month now about 1.25 inches, give or take. But that temperature, that's the big weather story right there, is those temperatures will continue to be a situation for us. Now, tomorrow, we do have some changes taking place. We have numbers in the 50s and 60s right before the top of the hour across much of the area. Little cooler back toward Murphy, North Carolina, 52 there, 51 Blue Ridge, Georgia, 50s across north central and northwestern areas of Alabama, Fort Payne, or northwest Georgia, Fort Payne, Alabama, you're at 53, and numbers about 54 back around Madisonville, 50s, high 50s to low 60s elsewhere across the area. So it's been quite the mild day across much of the region. We do have a cold front that is going to be on the way. It is sitting basically just to our north and west, and what we are seeing for now is going to be the potential of this front bringing in some cloud cover. You can see it, News 12 viewing area here, southeast United States, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina. The front itself is just now making its way into the area around Dyersburg in northwest Tennessee, up around Reelfoot Lake. The one thing you may notice on here, yes, there is some rainfall, but a lot of what we're looking at right now, there's just not a lot going on. So as this passes through the area tonight, it is a good possibility that we will pick up some raindrops, but it doesn't look like a gully washer. And here's part of the reason why. High pressure sitting out over the Atlantic and down toward the Gulf of Mexico, basically keeping things very quiet. Yes, we do have a bit of some onshore flow, but that's not really helping us out for right now. We've got that cold front by tomorrow morning. If you are out and about early in the morning, you're probably going to see winds out of the south at about a few miles per hour. Then as this passes on through, winds whip around from the northwest as that front comes through attached to that area of low pressure where winds rotate in the northern hemisphere counterclockwise. So the winds will be out of the south about daybreak. Mid-morning, winds will be switching to the northwest as that cold front passes, and that's where we see the greatest amount of clouds, the best potential of rain. And for right now, according to the forecast we have, the models are showing nothing in the way of severe weather, winter weather, or anything in the way of flash flooding potential. It's possible that we could see a gear up of this, but it's going to take a lot more moisture coming in from off the Gulf of Mexico before we see anything in the way of potential amounts of huge amounts of rainfall. Now going up even farther, we have another cold front that's going to be set to rolling on through. Let's go ahead and time things out for you for Thursday morning, getting ahead of myself. The front itself will be moving its way through, again, right about daybreak, probably passing through right about mid-morning for most of the area, and then by noon it should be pretty well over northeast Georgia and into the western Carolinas, so not a threat. Now we may see the potential that area of low pressure back to our north might wrap around some moisture, and that is where we may see the potential of some scattered light showers. Maybe. Again, some of that looks like it does reach down our direction, but it's very small, very much on the dry side surrounding all of this moisture. So I think by the time we hit Friday morning, we'll be back to clear skies, chilly temperatures back in the high 30s. Tomorrow and Friday, temperatures will be lower than what we saw today. Near 80 degrees today, lower 60s for Thursday and Friday. Second cold front of 3 coming through the area as we go towards Saturday. Again, decently dry, so we see again a little bit of cool temperatures, but outside of clouds, not that much left over. Clouds up and around the area of the lee of this front as it passes on through, and then 50s for high temperature, a few lower 60s. Could even be some lower 50s as we go through about Sunday afternoon. It's possible that we could see some lower 50s for high temperatures. And then after that, we bounce back quite nicely. So it doesn't look like a lot going on in the way of major problems. Tonight's low temperature is not all that low. We're only going to be in the 40s and the 50s out there. May see some colder temperatures again into next week, and high temperatures tomorrow. will be mild, no question about that, but only in the 60s instead of the high 70s. So you're going to notice a little bit of a change out there, so that jacket or that light coat may not be such a bad idea, especially with temperatures back into the mid to upper 50s or so. Now, we do still stand the chance of some very warm conditions over the next several days. Looking good according to the Climate Prediction Center's medium range forecast. Again, right now, no big problem being seen where it comes to any Arctic air or any blast of summer. It's going to get very much on the mild side and stay there for a while. We're not seeing anything in the way of a guarantee of huge amounts of rainfall, but it is possible that we may see a little bit wetter conditions as we go into the next few days, and that encompasses all of the News 12 viewing area. The worst potential for rainfall, the heaviest I should say, from the Ohio River Valley all the way back up to the St. Lawrence Seaway. So yes, there is a little bit more rain in our future. That mainly happening for next week. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to the 7-day forecast and give you an idea as to what we may be looking for there, and make certain my cameras are ready to go on here before I switch over. All right, so for the next few days, tomorrow not around 80 degrees. Island Cove Marina and Resort looking back toward Tennessee 58 and the Hunter Road interchange there. We see temperatures very much mild. Again, keep in mind mid upper 50s. That's where we should be for this time of the year. We're going to be back in the lower to mid 60s. It'll cool off. That's storm system number 1 tomorrow. Storm system number 2, Saturday into Sunday, the temperatures drop off to below normal. Some high 40s possible as we go toward Sunday afternoon. Then we'll rise back in the temperatures again. Storm system number 3, that one will be coming in as we get into next Tuesday, and that one looks again to have a little bit better potential for maybe severe weather, at least close to our viewing area. Temperatures remain quite mild. We may be going with a little bit of frost into the early part of next week, so that is where we might be the coldest. Now, what about this right here? What we're seeing for next week is not much, at least where we're concerned, at least not yet anyway. So that right there is decently good news. The threat for next week, usually on days 1, 2, and 3, today, tomorrow, and the day after that, you get the multicolored bands that show slight, enhanced, moderate type situation. Those are just for days 1, 2, and 3. However, if you go farther out, days 4 through 8, that is where we have just sort of a generic 15 to 30% chance. Yellow is 15. If there was orange on here, we would see that. The point is that I'm making, that's just to give you a little familiarity with what you're looking at here. This is an extended forecast, so it is a little bit different from the usual short-range forecast that you usually see when we're talking about severe weather. Couple things to notice here. Again, so far it's only a 15% chance, but when the National Weather Service starts issuing forecasts like this, it is important to sit up and take notice, because this gives us a sort of distant early warning, if you will, in regards to what type of weather might be heading our direction. Most of this is for the Mid-South and down toward the Delta. And as you will notice, it's not in effect for our area, for the News 12 viewing area, Southeast Tennessee, North Georgia, Northeast Alabama, Western North Carolina. So why are we telling you about this? Because, again, when the Storm Prediction Center starts issuing forecasts like this for later on, it is time to make certain that we are paying attention and that we are being weather aware of this situation. Again, this is for Tuesday. Wednesday did not have, day 8 did not have anything on here. But it is possible that we could see this expand to the west, and we could be getting into a situation where we may be looking at more severe weather for here on Tuesday and for here next Wednesday. But that is not the case tonight. I'm just offering a possibility out there. This is very preliminary. There are the possibilities of seeing, again, more severe weather forecasts that will be updated over the next several days. The threat could go up. It could wane a little bit. It could stay exactly the same. There's a lot that could happen here. The point is, right now, don't fail to check in on the weather through the next several days, through the weekend and into next week. That is going to be imperative, especially at this time of the year. Remember, we are in storm season number 1. That right there between January and April, give or take, that is this area's prime severe weather season. Now, from January and February, we start knocking off on the amount of severe weather, but it is still higher than the rest of the calendar year. So what we're going to be seeing is, again, the potential of this happening, again, back to our west on Tuesday, but it's going to go from here in the morning back this direction in the afternoon, which means we could be looking at potential problems going our way Wednesday into Thursday, maybe. So this, again, is what we really need to be paying attention to. So please keep it tuned to News 12. We'll keep you updated on this. This is not trying to panic anybody with vague ideas of what is happening with severe weather. What this is as a meteorologist, letting you know what might be happening. This is not hype. This is just displaying the forecast as is. There's no point, in the first place, there's no point of accusing anybody, except for those who really deserve it, of hyping the weather, because there's no point in making these things so worse. They get worse than what they already are. There's no point of adding more fuel to the fire to make certain that more people notice. This is your opportunity to make sure that you are paying attention to what is going on. We'll help you do that, but keep it tuned to News 12 because this will be important, again, as we go throughout the course of the next several days. So stay tuned for more on that. All right, let's go to our question of the day. DOGE is cutting its way through the government, and the numbers they're presenting are not exactly truthful, according to CBS News, having issues with the amount of truthiness going on in their department briefings in front of the media. So, from a former NOAA official telling employees at NOAA to expect what percentage of DOGE personnel, or DOGE, or doggy, I would guess would be another way to pronounce that, personnel cuts. And again, this is featured on our news tonight, our bell tone weather question of the day. 25%, 50%, or 75% employee personnel cuts at NOAA, which is frightening because the less people we have monitoring the weather and doing their work, the less safe we all become. But you say, we're bloated as the government and we don't need all these people for doing things. Have you really looked into what NOAA does? Because if you haven't, you would see that there's a lot going on that NOAA participates in. Not just severe weather, not just weather forecasts with the National Weather Service, not just hurricane forecasts, a whole bunch of other stuff, lots of other stuff. And when a certain project says that they should give the duties of NOAA over to a private forecasting firm, there is none, zero, zip, zilch, nada. Not one private forecasting firm out there can do the entirety of what NOAA does. That is just plain simple fact right there. That's not an opinion. This, again, was the record for tonight. 50% is what they are going to be expecting. So apparently, somewhere within the next several months, half of the National Weather Service and NOAA will be gone. That, if it doesn't frighten you, it should. And it really does frighten me. And this is something that is beyond the pale stupid. This needs to come to an end, and you really should be contacting your elected representatives to tell them what's going on, because this right here is an untenable situation. This is something that will be hurting us. The less people we have doing their jobs as they have for the last few decades, this is something that cannot be handled just by throwing tons of work to half the amount of people. This is really a very bad idea. Think about it. Find out more about what NOAA does. Ask to get information from a NOAA meteorologist. Ask for a tour of the National Weather Service. Research what goes on at NOAA through their website, NOAA.gov. This is a very important thing to take a look at, and please do, again, yourself a favor and find out more about what NOAA does besides just the forecast from the National Weather Service. Thanks to Beltone for being our weather sponsor, and we'll have another web poll going up at midnight. More about the potential of severe weather. Again, we'll talk about that coming up here a little bit more in the forecast. Let's go ahead and show you a little bit more in the way of some extracurricular activities from the Langley Roofing Weather Window Picture of the Day. Thank you very much, Kimberly Francis from Soddy Daisy, from a view around Soddy Lake last week, Tuesday, with, again, a decent amount of snow around the area, gray, kind of an almost monochrome field there. That's a beautiful picture. Thank you very much, Ms. Francis, for sending that in. If you've got pictures, send them in to us so that we can show them. WDEF.com/photos. You can go to our website. You can go to our social media pages. You can go send them by email at pictures@WDEF.com if you'd like to know more about what's going on out there. Again, tomorrow should be a little bit on the cooler side. It will also be breezy, so if you're going to be doing anything outdoors, less in the way of sunshine in the morning, but then clearing off, so we will have a decent UV index throughout the course of the rest of the day. But what we will also see is some windy conditions, so out on the back nine, duffers are going to have a bit of a problem with the hook or the slice out there with these winds behind that front, which again will switch from south to northwest coming in tomorrow morning. And that part of that forecast comes right to you from NOAA. So if you are going to be heading to the classroom in the morning or getting the kids there, not too breezy to start things off, but it will be, again, the potential of much breezier winds. Note the light winds as the first bell gets underway, and then we see some very windy conditions coming up for Thursday afternoon, and temperatures will be about 15 degrees cooler tomorrow, so be prepared for that. Jacket or light coat, but no sign of anything needed for the rain gauge or any sign of any needing any umbrella situation, so some definite good news where that is concerned out there. Again, if you'd like to know more, we had the City of Collegedale severe weather event at the Commons today in Collegedale, Tennessee. Thank you to the City of Collegedale for putting it on. Thanks to Ace Hardware for selling weather radios there. Thanks to Hamilton County Emergency Management for programming the weather radios. If you'd like to know more, if you've got a weather radio today and you need help in programming it, go to our website, WDEF.com/weather, and you can help program your weather radio. They're not really too much weather radios anymore. They're more of a computer with a radio attached, so you have to be able to program the National Weather Service radio to alert you for the right counties, because they'll send out the information in code that will alert your weather radio if you clicked yes or no for the county, and yes or no for the particular watch, warning, advisory, special weather statement. If you're in Hamilton County and you don't care to get woken up for anything going on in Georgia or Alabama or North Carolina, you don't have to be. You can get that selective on what you get. But here's the main thing about this. This device should be in every school, every home, every business, every place of worship, every shopping center, any place where, again, people need to know information as soon as possible. This is one of the best ways of getting weather information out there. Again, that's one more bit of what NOAA does to help keep you safe. So if you don't have one of these, get one. If you've got one and don't know how to program it, go to our website. Hopefully, City of Collegedale will be holding another event like they had today. That was very helpful. That was a very big boon to the community. So please make certain that you've got this in your home, your business, wherever, and make certain you know how to use it. That's one of the things that can keep you very much on the informed side. There are more meetings coming up for Skywarn. We'll talk more about that tomorrow night on Weather Overtime. But if you don't have time or the opportunity to make the meetings in person, and there's only a couple of them left, some of the National Weather Service offices this year are apparently not holding any in our area. We're covered over by 4 National Weather Service offices, so we've got about 2 left in Southeast Tennessee, I'll check again National Weather Service Huntsville to see if they rescheduled that one for DeKalb and Jackson counties, Alabama. If that has been rescheduled, we'll let you know. National Weather Service Peachtree City, Georgia, as of right now, as far as I know, have not scheduled any new meetings. So in-person meetings may be kind of hard to find, but if you can't, that's okay, because this is one of the best ways to get trained. National Weather Service Morristown, which covers part of the News 12 viewing area, including Chattanooga, is holding a virtual Skywarn spotter training page. You can show up whenever you like. You can find out more about Skywarn. You can take the quiz. You can pass the quiz. Then you can register with the National Weather Service and become a Skywarn spotter in what particular area you may be around. Remember that, again, we do not have just one National Weather Service like a lot of other places do. Georgia is covered over by National Weather Service Peachtree City. Northeast Alabama covered over by the National Weather Service in Huntsville. Most of the News 12 viewing area from western North Carolina into most of southeast Tennessee is covered over by the jurisdiction of the National Weather Service, I should say, in Morristown, Tennessee. And then back to the west of us, a couple of our counties, especially Grundy and down toward the area around close to just outside the viewing area in Franklin, that is covered by the National Weather Service in Nashville. So that's 4 different National Weather Service offices. So we have to keep up with a lot of various locations so that we can tell you about what is going on. So if you haven't become a Skywarn spotter, please do so. You don't have to be an amateur radio operator. You don't have to be anything other than a person who is in the community, who lives around the area, who wants to know more about weather and protecting your local citizens and their livelihood and things like that by getting the information out about what you see, trained in Skywarn, to the National Weather Service so they can tell folks like me, so I can broadcast to everybody what we are seeing from folks like you. Your information could save lives. That's the important thing right there. And the more Skywarn trained volunteers that we have, the better off we all are, because that's more people watching more areas and are able to see what goes on. And again, you can find out more how you can call into the National Weather Service. Good opportunity to use your cell phone. If you're an amateur radio operator and you've never been a Skywarn spotter, you should really think about becoming one, because you could send the information in by your rig. Good opportunity, again, to get that information out quicker to the rest of the community. So many different ways of communication, many different modes. Please consider that, if at all possible, on there for right now. Papa_T on Twitch. 2 of them. I'm assuming that's the weather radio. 1 on each end of the house. Good. Great to be able to hear that from a local viewer. Really nice to be able to hear that some folks are taking this seriously. And making certain that they have the weather radio ready to go. I actually have 2, well, technically I have 3. I have one that sits in my bathroom close to where my bedroom is so that I can hear it, but not have it be underfoot. I have one that I take out to schools as a spare, and I've got another one that I need to get fixed. It's more of a desktop unit. That one was from Radio Shack a long time ago, but it's nice to be able to have that spare just in case, at least to tell everybody about, if at all possible. So, and thank you, Austen, for all you do for the area, from Papa_T. You're welcome. Glad to help out with everything. This is my passion. I love to be able to talk about these things, so it's great to be able to share them. Hopefully not putting anybody to sleep with all this, but again, glad to be able to help out where we can. So if you want to be a Skywarn spotter, you've got the opportunity to do so. We'll have more on this coming up over the course of the next several days and weeks. What have I forgotten for tonight? We've done the school day forecast. We've done the outdoors, golf course, almanac, weather picture. I think we've got everything covered over. So we've been on it for about half an hour, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap up for this evening so that everybody can get ready to hit the sack, or maybe just getting up for third shift. I'm not sure. But for tonight, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for now. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, ideas, thanks for everybody for stopping by on YouTube and on Twitch for tonight. Questions, ideas, email address at the bottom of the screen in the blue bar there, aonek@wdef.com. Our weather page down beneath that by the 12 logo, wdef.com/weather. And if that's where you can get things like our 7-day forecast, Let's see, on Twitch, pointing there, YouTube, pointing there. I've got two different cameras, so I'm streaming on two different services at once, just to let you know more about what's going on there. So for tonight, that should do it. We'll have more with Chip Chapman early on Thursday morning, starting at 5 a.m. So stop by for a complete forecast update and a look at time saver traffic. And I'll be back with you tomorrow night on Weather Overtime to keep you updated as to what is going on. So thank you very much for watching live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee at the WDEF News 12 studios. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. More coming up tonight on News 12 at 11, tomorrow on the Daybreak Show with Chip Chapman, and of course tomorrow, and as always, at WDEF.com/weather. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again coming up on Thursday.